listening to 100 Words or Less with Ray Harkins.
Hello one, hello all, welcome to this podcast. You know what it's about. It's about punk, hardcore, indie rock, emo, metal, all of the genres and subgenres. We are talking to people who are creating it, who are involved with it in a deep and meaningful way, because this stuff sticks to our bones. It's in our DNA, and we care about it. We want to dig deeper and know more. And that's why this whole thing exists. So appreciate you showing up. If this is your first time here, you've got like 700 some odd episodes to listen to, or maybe, 690, maybe you can go back and listen to. If this is your first time here, welcome. We love it. Today, I've got a great conversation with Tyler Washington, the vocalist from Excide, and then he also plays drums in Foreign Hands. The new Excide record called Bastard Hymns is incredible. If you like stuff like Orange 9mm, Snapcase, like that more rock/experimental influenced hardcore stuff, you absolutely need to listen to this Excide record. It's really an awesome piece of work, and that's why I wanted to have Tyler on, because he sings for that band, and also he's just a good dude. Met him when he was playing drums in Foreign Hands, which he still plays drums in. But just really liked the guy's vibe. And then, we became internet friends. And then here we are talking about this record and this band that he exists in. So let's talk about ways that you can support the show. You can always reach out, 100wordspodcast@gmail.com. I receive any and all inquiries, whether it's guest ideas or just general what's ups. Love to hear all of that from you, because podcasting is weird. It's this somewhat isolating medium, even though I'm having conversations not only with myself, but other people. But always love to receive emails from any of you that are listening out there. Also, spread the word on social media. Obviously, all of this helps the algorithm know to recommend this stuff to the people who it's appropriate to. And same thing could be said about rating and reviewing on Apple Podcasts, or simply leave a rating on Spotify. All of those things are tremendous helps to the show, and that's why everybody asks you to do it. So I am no better. Please do that for this show as well. And want to hit on a few things before we dive into the conversation with Tyler. For one, just fuck ICE, okay? Let's be unequivocal about this, pulling no punches. This is an awful state of affairs that we are currently in here in the United States of America, and that's just it. Do what you can. Do what you are capable of, and make sure to speak out when you do see the injustice that absolutely exists in our political system in our country right now. It's awful. And there are many times I don't know what to do about it, but then I try to take some sliver of action, whether it's calling your local senators or whether it's like simply sharing on social media. But some of those things are just purely performative, like especially the social media aspect. Spreading information is good as long as it's good information. And then, doing what you can to, control what you personally can. That out of the way. Also went to a amazing show in LA, Frail, Philadelphia hardcore legends. They came out west. I did a reading where I just pontificated about the importance of the band, but then also a lot of different things that were ping-ponging around my brain. But it was such an awesome evening. I was able to read alongside Kent McClard from Ebullition, and just great people. And it truly did feel like a 90s hardcore show in the best way possible. I loved it. Appreciate all of you who came up and said hello and be like, I've been listening to the podcast for a while. Really, really special full circle moments for me at that show. And now let's talk about the weekly recommendations. I make a playlist. I recommend stuff each week. I toss all those recommendations into a playlist. In the show notes, you'll be able to find Spotify and Apple Music links where you'll be able to listen to all of those new, old, everything in between. I basically just want to keep the music flowing into your ears, some sort of recommendations, because, like algorithms are, you can't trust them all the time. And sometimes you need that, word of mouth, people telling you to listen to something, and you're like, you know what, I will. So this week's recommendation, this is a random pull, but this got recommended to me recently, and I was like, I remember this record, and I remember sort of liking it, but then I revisited it, and holy crap, it's really, really good. So the band is called Longwave. The record is called The Strangest Things. It came out in 2003 on the ashes of that whole like indie sleaze. When I say ashes, like, bands like The Strokes and Yeah and all that stuff was obviously still happening. But this band was kind of lumped in with that. But they had a sort of shoegaze vibe to it, but then also had elements of like Interpol, I just was floored by how much I like this record, and it was a song that got recommended to me. But yeah, listen to this record because it is definitely a deep, deep gem that you would need to, go 20 some odd years back to be like, oh man, I think I saw this record, or I think I may have listened to it. But highly, highly recommend the revisiting of the Long Wave record, The Strangest Things. I haven't dove into their catalog beyond that one record, but they were very active for years after them putting that out. So, yeah, really, really good record. So it's in the playlist. Duck into the show notes. You'll be able to find all of that recommendation stuff, and then you'll be able to hopefully find some new music there. Also, huge shout out to everybody who reached out to ask about, I had a skin cancer removed in my forehead. And I know that's weird to talk about here with you right now, but get yourself checked. If you ever see something weird or feel something weird, there's probably a reason why that you were recognizing that. So listen to your instincts, listen to your own voice about your own body, because, yeah, I did. And there was skin cancer. So they removed it. Everything's good to go. But yeah, I'm just glad that I was able to do that. And to be fair, this was definitely at the urging of my wife as well. But, when you got people reminding you, that's a good thing. So anyways, let us talk to Tyler Washington from Excide and Foreign Hands right now. I first got keyed into Excide via our mutual friend, Nick from New Morality Zine. He is a very good person to, not only in general, but a very good person to like just be like, I know you'll like this. I'll just share you this music. Like, yes, I'm putting it out, or I'm not even putting it out, or whatever. He just is a very good sharer. What took me about the band beyond just the sonics of it, I like what you do, but it was just the you having this vision beyond just obviously what you were doing with Foreign Hands, because clearly at that time, like Foreign Hands was, going. They were touring. There was a lot of things happening. Did you personally always have that, I guess, I don't want to call it like overactivity, but like did you always have that, like, I want to be doing a lot of things. Like, I don't want to be just in, playing drums in one band or whatever. So you're nodding yes. So it sounds like you always wanted to do everything.
Yeah, no, I think like I've always kind of been like the guy in the band, like where it was like I was the one like coming up with like the ideas or like writing the riffs or whatever. And Foreign Hands was like the first time really that I stepped into a band kind of like after it had already had some like, momentum. So naturally I wasn't like the guy for that band. I was just like the drums for a while, and we've really collaborated more and more like over the years. It's become less of like a one-sided thing on the Foreign Hands side, and I mean with both bands honestly, but like yeah, I had that void of like, okay, this is taking up most of my time, and I'm so used to being like overproductive, just like putting something out that honestly is stressful for me. Like I needed more stress in my life is what it was. Like
Right. Well, I like how you put that, where it's like because not only does something like that, like, Excide scratches a different part of your brain than obviously Foreign Hands. And like, there are certain times, just like everybody in a band fills certain roles where it's like, oh, here's the business person, here's the guy that does merch or whatever. And like, if you are not, I guess scratching those itches of either, like you said, you being the person that's bringing all the music to the table, and you're just kind of like, who am I? What am I in this band? Like, how does this even work?
yeah. Yeah, literally like I felt like I was never doing enough, and like I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. Like, when it came to Foreign Hands and stuff, like I was writing the drums, I was playing the drums. That's really all they ever asked me to do. But like I've even still to this day, like I try now that I have everything I need on that front, it's like I've shifted my focus towards like, I don't know, just like different audio aspects, like things that we can add to like the live performance to make it better and stuff like that. Like I have to like put that energy somewhere, or I feel like I'm not doing enough. So, yeah, it's funny how it works.
So has that always been like you as a person? Like you, whether it's the voice in your head or whether it's external pressures on you to be like, you got to do the thing. Like, has that always been who you are?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm like a very, I guess like self-driven person, or have been most of my life. It's like it's funny. It slows down like with time. I feel like these days I'm not as pressured, but when I was like younger, especially like just with the excitement of joining Foreign Hands and getting Excite off the ground and stuff like that, I had just so much like I don't know wind beneath my sails that like I don't know, I had this fire and, I had always just wanted to do something, I don't know, cool and so, yeah, I've always just been a busybody, like and terrible at school, I should say, like, terrible at school, can't pay attention to stuff that, like, I should have paid attention to earlier in life, but God forbid if, like, every waking moment I'm not thinking about, like, music in some regard or just, I'm recording or I'm writing or I'm you know, working on technical stuff, it's left and right for me. I'm always on.
Sure. And I think that, I mean, that's one of the beautiful parts, obviously, about our awesome independent punk and hardcore scene, where it's like it gives you the license to be a busybody and be like, yeah, I'm going to take photos at the show. I'm going to play in a band, and then I'm going to, put out a zine. I'm going to record the demo. Like, you're like, I want to do it all.
Yeah. Yeah, literally, and I tell you, I mean, all the time, I'm like, I'm pretty okay with words, like, at least written, like, I stammer a little bit when I'm talking back and forth, but I'm just like, "Yeah, I should do, like, a zine or something like that," like, I always stray thoughts just running, like
But I mean, it is, and I know that you have toured and met people like this that are, for lack of a better term, like just the thing where it's like they're just playing bass and they're like, yeah, I'm cool with that. You're like, but are you doing anything else? Like, nah. You're like, really?
Yep.
Wow, what's that like?
Yeah. It blows my mind all the time. Like, I envy, especially, like, singers who don't have to get directly involved with the music process. Like, that's a thing I've been thinking about lately is just, like, I don't know, I get so, like even on stuff that I don't, I guess, like, spearhead the writing for, like, songs that I don't spearhead the writing for, I still get my hands as, like, dirty as I can in the moment and just, like, try to just get as creative as I can with it even before we hit, like, the vocal side of it. And yeah, I can't believe that there's people out there who just get handed a song and they're like, "Alright, here you go." Like, here's the song, write lyrics and stuff. I just that blows my mind. I can't even imagine living in that world.
It,
Like
yeah, it's a very, I mean, I will selfishly say that, well, not even selfish. I guess I will point the finger back at me. I for sure filled that role in Taken, where
Mm,
I'm like the last 3% of an editing process for a song, where I'm kind of like, oh, maybe that should be a little shorter or whatever. But for the most part, it's pretty fully cooked. And then the usually maybe something that I'm trying to supply to the guys that I'm in the band with is like, sort of the themes that I'm trying to hit on. But like, yeah, I totally understand where, like, if I had a monicum of talent to be like, hey, because I know to play three chords, like that's all I know how to do. So like, I am not going to contribute songwriting in any way, shape, or form, but I'll help. But I'll help in these other ways. But to your point, I was always the guy that was like booking shows. And I was like, if I can't fill this role, I will fill this other role, and that like rounds it out, so to speak.
right, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I feel like it's just how we operate. I don't know. Like, or at
Yeah.
least, like, that's how 99% of us operate, I feel like, and then, like you said, every now and then you'll meet somebody who's, like, just the thing. They're just the thing they do, and I'm like, "Man, that's sick."
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could be that way.
You're like, you really figured it out, man. I guess I'm just
Ye
running around like a chicken with my head cut off, and that's fine, I guess. Like, you're not.
yeah. Yeah, I'm doing too much, like, I'm doing way too much.
Yeah, absolutely. The So I actually I have no clue where you were like, born and raised, like what sort of scene you came up in. Like, I mean, because I know like Four in Hands in general is a I mean now everybody lives everywhere, but like a nebulous like, oh yeah, we're Delaware hardcore, but like no one really lives in Delaware. I mean, yeah, I joke, but so where were you like born and raised?
So I was born in a town called Gaston, South Carolina. It was about 20 minutes or 30 minutes from the capital city, Columbia,
Okay,
and um, like that was always interesting because it was, below the like Bible Belt and all that. And when I first started going to shows, and I feel like a lot of kids relate to this, where it was like I had to be like, "Oh, it's a Christian show," which was true. Like, most of the time it was true that I was like, "Yo, these are Christian bands." Like, I'm going to in service of God or whatever,
sure,
and I'm not, yeah, And so like I would go at like 14, 15, whatever, and they actually used to have shows in this tiny town at like the Civic Center, and they were crazy. Like it was just like a old like high school like that had been turned into like I said, like the local civic center. And yeah, my first show ever was just completely local, like not a single touring band, all local. Every single band minus I think one was a Christian band. And there was like a band's first show, a band's going away set, a band like there was just all kinds of crazy stuff going on, and it was just chaos. Like it was being 14 and walking into like I don't know. I guess it is probably perspective because these days I might walk in and see it and not be so freaked out. But like at 14, I was like, this is the craziest pit I've ever seen in my life. It's
right.
just like this is way crazier than the shit I see online or what, So, um, yeah, that was kinda how it was for, like, a few years. It was just, like, we kinda bounced between, just a lot of, like I mean, it's to be honest with you, like, deathcore was, like, the thing at the time. So, it was, like, a lot of Christian deathcore, if you could believe it.
Oh yeah, yeah. You were listening to Impending Doom, not a problem. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So, and then there was, like, a couple hardcore bands that kinda made their way in the mix,
right.
and, um, I slowly kinda made myself, or made my way into that world, from that. But, yeah, that's what the scene looked like whenever I grew up, and it was cool. Shows used to be literally in people's sheds and stuff, and now you can hardly catch a show in the capital city.
Sure, yeah. Well, and I love I mean, every touring band has that moment where they're playing, Bloomington, Indiana or whatever, a random town that you're like, I've not only never heard of it, but I've never seen it on a map. I don't have any concept of how this is going to go, but then you show up and you're just like, I guess 200 kids are here on a Friday night because that's the only thing to do. And like, I just love that experience from your side of things where it's like you're showing up and seeing the craziest thing that, a 14-year-old brain can comprehend. And it was probably just an average show for a Friday or whatever. Like it's
Yeah.
so cool.
all, all these other kids were like, they were just friends. Like they were all older than me, so they were like they went to high school together and stuff, and and I was there with my older cousin who was the same age as everyone else that was attending the show. So that was my in where it was like, okay, it's a Christian show, mom. My older cousin's going, so
Yep.
she can chaperone me, like, whatever. And
I'll be
yeah.
safe. I'll be safe. There's not going to be any devil worship here. We're all good.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, even though my family, or at least on my mom's side, who raised me, like, not being, like, super Christian or whatever, she still I think just being in the presence of, like, that kind of community, I guess she assumed it would be, like,
Hmm. Safe.
better,
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
I mean, if you connect that, it's like the two hall passes that I think punk and hardcore kids were able to utilize to go to shows was either obviously the Christian angle, or it's like, oh yeah, I'm straight edge, so I'm not going to get involved in any of this. And like parents were just kind of like, I don't understand this, but okay, I guess.
Ye Yeah, exactly.
I am always thrilled to welcome our friends at evilgreed.com onto the show. because they're an incredible merch purveyor with heavy music. That is what they focus on. They ship it out to you, the consumer. You win because you can buy from multiple stores, multiple bands, and they make it easy. Use this promo code, New Year. That is a limited time code that you can use until mid-February for those that are keeping track. Gets you 10% off your first order. Again, New Year is the promo code. But when you go to evilgreed.com, you'll see what I'm talking about. They offer exclusive colors of vinyl, shirts, sweatshirts, everything you could possibly want. And if you listen to the show, I can guarantee you that you will like 95% of what they have going on. They don't open the doors up to everybody. They work with a specific handful of record labels and bands to be able to make it, like I said, easy for you as the consumer to order a bunch of stuff in one place. They're based in Berlin, Germany, but they ship worldwide, and the shipping rates to us here in the States, very advantageous and cheap. So hop on that right now and use the promo code New Year for 10% off your first order. Go have fun shopping.
Shh. Enjoy your roomy seat as we get you to your destination in pure peace and quiet. Plan your relaxed ride in the quiet car at Amtrak.com. Amtrak. Retrain travel.
I do like the southern aspect of what you're talking about, because I mean that had a stranglehold, I mean, for at least 10 to 15 years in regards to, I mean, just the Christian hardcore element that was blowing up all throughout the 2000s and then heading into 2010s. And it was like such a, I think for me as a person who's older than you, watching that, where it was all you got for a long time was like horrible facsimiles of the band, where it's like, oh, here's our Christian Deftones. That was terrible, And then it was like, once they had bands where you're like, oh, like this is actually good. And then you're like,
Yeah.
this is cool. And then it started to, really ping pong around, and, the secular bands played with the Christian bands and everybody was okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's funny because I mean, I worship the ground that the bands, like the local bands, walked on, like whenever I was growing up, and their music disappeared with MySpace. Like, I don't know. Like, I thought that they were like the coolest thing in the world, though. Like, I mean, you
Sure.
could not dissuade me.
Yeah. You're like, this is the pinnacle. Like, you're like, if I could give them a Grammy, I would, because this is how important the music is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, I didn't even that's the thing, is like I said, family's not super, super like Christian. So it's not even that I really connected so much with like the message or whatever. It was more so that I just was like so just excited by it, just wanting to be a part of this like community that I walked up and saw, And so I was like, I'm like, what do I gotta do? Like, what do I gotta do to get up there? Like,
Yeah.
what do I gotta do?
Had you been
Like,
playing instruments at all before that?
yeah, yeah. So I started playing guitar at like 10, I think. And so I had been playing guitar for a few years at that point, and it was like, I don't know, I was kind of like in my area, at least, like with my school and stuff. I was like doing the talent shows, and like, my family was like, he's like a child prodigy and whatever, and I'm
Sure,
just
sure.
like, okay, only to like move some years later and like realize like everyone that I know plays guitar just as good as, if not better than me.
Sure,
So,
sure.
I was like, all right, all right. It's just not a lot of people are very inspired down there. So,
You were a big fish in a small pond, as they would say.
yes,
R-
yeah. That was the vibe coming up in my tiny town school. Just like there wasn't a lot of ambition, there wasn't a lot of like funding for creative arts and whatnot. So it's like, in order to get out of that town at all, it's like you had to do sports. Like that was your only ticket out usually.
Got it. And did you try to go down that road at all? Were you a sports dude?
Yeah, I played a couple sports. I did like baseball and then basketball in the like off seasons.
Okay.
And I played baseball like pretty much all my life until I got really into guitar, which was around probably like 12 or so.
Hmm.
And that was like something clicked with me, where I'd been like kind of trying it for 2 years and nothing really was landing. And then I learned how to play like scales, oddly enough, just like, and that was like what took like my brain and I don't know. It's just like I would like put on the radio and I would like listen and I would like match the key or whatever, and then I would just try to use the scales to like improvise over the songs that I would hear. And I don't know why, but that's like the thing that like just fully plunged me into it and like made me want to do it. So
That's cool. Did you
yeah.
once you experienced that, like, first show and started going to more, you said immediately that you wanted to, like, be on stage and play in a band, like, so that took right away. You're like, whatever it takes, I need to play in a band.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. It was like, I mean, it's funny how your goals move throughout the years because my biggest goal was like, okay, I just got to get to a show. I got to see what this is about, And then I got to a show, and then I was like, okay, I got to play a show. I got to make a band, and I got to play a show. And so, then that was like the next thing I chased, and the goalpost just moves and keeps moving forward.
Yeah, because I mean, to that your point of just like whatever small town ambition, like a lot of people don't look beyond. I think the stand up comedian Patton Oswalt said, like, if your ultimate goal is to like own the gas station in town, you got to shoot higher than that. Like
Yeah.
you can make a good living there, but like there's the world that's outside of that. But your your conceit of trying to do something just even slightly larger, it's like, I just want to put out a demo. It's like everyone starts there because you don't have a conceit of like, oh, I'm going to put out a record. You're like, what? No, doesn't make sense. I can't do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, it helped too, because like, I mean, I found like my best friend or whatever, and he's doing something totally different now. Like he's a great musician, but he's like a painter now. He's like doing his own thing out in like Portland somewhere. And but like at the time, he was the only other kid I met that like had that kind of drive or whatever. So it was really helpful because like we would get together and hang out like every week, but instead of like playing video games or whatever, we would be like watching YouTube videos on like how to record things and like writing music and trying to track it and whatever else, and eventually putting a band together, all that stuff. So it was nice to have someone with that shared goal, because I don't know where I would have ended up if I if I didn't have someone else who had the same mindset as me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you need other people. I mean, clearly to make up a band, but like you need other people that have they're not going to have the same exact ambitions as you, but like just the idea where it's like, we want to record, we want to like play a show outside of our state. Like you got to find those people. Cause yeah, if it's just you and maybe one other person, you're like, I don't know, what are we going to do with this? Be the White Stripes? Like that's no.
Yeah, literally, I was just like, "We need, like, this and that," like, yeah, I couldn't in my brain, I was like, "We can't push this forward until we have, like, all the pieces right," you know?
Sure,
So
sure. What was the life path for you before obviously music swallowed you up? Was like, did you like go to college? Were there things that you're like, oh yeah, I could see myself, being a teacher or whatever? Like, was there any conceit of what that life would look like?
yeah, so, I mean, once I stopped with the sports, and I started playing music, it was funny kind of how the trajectory of things worked, because I was a band kid at one point, and I wouldn't stop messing around whenever I was in like 7th grade band or so. I just like me and my friends were just giving the music teacher like hell. Like we were like giving him the hardest time because we thought he was just like the nerdiest dude. So we would like just not pay attention in class, and we would just it was bad. We were bad kids. And so anyways, I got kicked out of band, and then come high school, we were like I had to have a like a I don't know, like a I guess a guidance counselor meeting
Hmm.
or something. They essentially like help you plan your route or whatever,
Sure.
And so they were like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "I want to play music." And they were like, "Well, you should probably get back into band." And I was like, I didn't think I could do that. Like I thought I was like
I thought I was
done.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So they put me back in band, and I missed an entire year of it. But they put me back in band, and I really did, like, from there on in band, like, actually start applying myself, and later on, like did a bunch of clinics and like really pushed for like scholarships and did all the auditions and all the crazy stuff. Um, only for once the time came around, um, I got into the music programs I was looking to get into, but none of them offered me any scholarships. So
Mm,
it was like a weird thing of like, okay, how do I make this work? And the only answer really was to like a bunch of them had these like exchange program or not exchange programs, but like these weird like crossover programs where you could be a part of the local technical school but still attend the like ensembles and stuff
sure.
with the other colleges, like with the universities. So I tried that, and then I hated technical school. So, I just couldn't hang. Like, truth be told, I was there for 2 months. I hated every second of it, and I hated it so much that I decided working 2 back-to-back shifts at FedEx every day for 5 days straight was more my speed, and,
Y-
did that, did that till I couldn't, and then just moved back home eventually and just started my first hardcore band from there.
Right, right. Well, I mean, and that's, I mean, everybody goes through those like circuitous paths. Like, very rarely do you have the kid in high school is like, I'm going to be a doctor, and then they end up being a doctor. It's like, it's a rare thing. It's usually you have to do exactly what you did, where it's like, I want to pursue music, but then all of this other stuff around it seems terrible. So like, I can't do it. But maybe if I think about this a different way, and like you said, being able to start a band and just start to like put it out there, whatever that may mean, that's a more approachable way for you to, live your life as opposed to just torturing yourself for months and years.
Yeah, because I mean, I went from being like the, dude that never stopped doing music and stuff, even though I was like younger. It's like I was playing in bands, we were playing shows, we were, and then I moved away and started trying to do the college thing. And then one day I looked up and I realized, like, oh, between this and work and whatever else, like, I just don't play music anymore. Like, I legitimately don't do the thing that I like to do. And so I quit all of it. And like I said, packed my bags, moved back, and then started my first hardcore band, and it was like, all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, on paper, this looks bad. Like, on paper, this looks like I just threw my life away almost, but, like,
I'm
I'm
going to
doing what
center
I
the
like.
right, exactly. You're like, I'm going to center my life around music. Whatever I do to fill in the time and like, be able to sustain my creativity, that's what I'm going to focus on.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, we just
That's
that's
what
what
you
I
did.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When did drums become a part of your life?
So, I had always kinda, like my sister was a drummer.
Okay.
Um, she started playing drums, like, a couple years after I started playing guitar. I think I was kind of like her entry point. Like, I was kind of like the one that inspired her to start playing an instrument,
Well, then you
but she
could have been the
also
White Stripes, dude. I'm sorry to interrupt, but Jesus.
yeah, yeah, we could've, but we just never saw eye to eye. We just, like, could not. I don't know what it was, but maybe just the brother-sister thing, man. We just could not
Sure.
get it together.
Yeah.
We tried, we really did. But yeah, so it went from, like, I always had, like, a drum kit in the house at that point, and I used to have to sneak to play it when she wasn't around because she would get mad if I did. So, I would just wait till she would leave for, like, practice or whatever, if it's whatever sport she was doing, and I would just, like, hit the shit out the drums, and just, like, try to teach myself the crazy shit that I saw people doing. Like, I tried to play blast beats and the whole 9, and, like, that was what I was trying to do. And so, yeah, then it turned into, like, every now and then, like, my friends would come over, and I'd be like, "Wait, wait, no, you get on guitar, and I'll get on drums," and, like, whatever. So, it was they were always kinda there, but, yeah, then I think I just, like once I was an adult and had my own money and stuff like that, I finally just bought my first little beater kit, taught myself, played in a couple bands here and there, but, like, not anything, like, super serious, in terms of drums, and then, yeah, Chuck, our bassist in Foreign Hands, he hit me up because we knew each other and asked me to fill in for Foreign Hands, and, I told him, I was like I remember telling him, like, "I can't play these songs, like, right now, but we got about 2 months until this, like, tour is happening. So let me try to get better at drums and I'll get back to you. So yeah, I just spent, the next like several weeks just every day playing until like I could play the four-hand songs. And that's all she wrote after we did that first like tour together. I don't know. They liked me, so they were like, you should just stick around.
Our friends and family at rockabilia.com want you to save 10% off of your first order. Use the promo code 100 words or less, and you will be able to buy officially licensed merch from punk, hardcore, metal, hip hop, classic rock, whatever you're into, they got. And then on top of it, it's all officially licensed. That means the bands get paid, you get high quality merchandise. Everybody wins in this scenario. So there's no reason why you can't go point your browser, like literally stop listening right now, use the promo code 100 words or less, and browse. And all of a sudden you'll be like, wow, that was like 20 minutes of poking around and seeing the cool stuff they have going on. They have a limited edition Converge shirt that's up for Valentine's Day. So order that right now. Limited to 75 pieces. I know I got mine already. But again, use the promo code 100 words or less for 10% off of your first order. And thank you to our friends at rockabilia.com for your continued support.
It speaks to who you are as a person, where it's just the idea of trying something, whether you succeed or fail, like you're like, I'm going to put my all into it and hopefully it works out. And just that kind of one foot in front of the other attitude that you have to be like, oh, I'm still playing music. So like, oh, I guess I'll try to join this band and see where this goes.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, things were changing and stuff, and I had said no to like some opportunities before in the past, just either out of fear or just out of like inconvenience for other people. And I was at this point in my life where there were just like so many things like up and down, not knowing what was gonna stick. Like, I don't know, just I was in a very like malleable point, and I was like, I need something serious. Like I need to do this thing if I'm gonna do it. And so yeah, I just, like I said, I was tired of like throwing away opportunities and saying no to stuff just from being scared. And so I was like, hey man, I don't know that I can do this, but I will try my damnedest to get good enough to do it. And so yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. I like that. And so when I mean, Four in Hands was kind of your first like actual touring experience, I presume, right? Besides like, I mean, did your first hardcore band that you were mentioning, like, did you guys get out of the state at all or no?
Like regionally, not super far. And I had some other bands over the years that like did like East Coast stuff
Sure.
mainly.
Yeah.
Like it was a pretty common thing for us just to like shoot up to the Northeast and back down, or down to Florida and back up, like either or. But yeah, we would do that occasionally, but that's as extensive as it really got with anything before Four in Hands.
Got it. Did you like the touring experience right away, or did you have to learn, I guess, who you were on the road versus what life is like at home?
Honestly, like I think I was like one of those people that I was just like, first tour was obviously just a mess because everyone's is like, but we booked my first tour ever. We booked 5 shows. We ended up playing 3 of them because the day we were heading out to go to, I think like Ohio maybe or something, the drivetrain fell out the bottom of the van. And in a Zaxby's parking lot. So we sat in that Zaxby's parking lot and like walked back and forth to like the closest Advance Auto Parts and like focused on trying to get the drivetrain back up in the van.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, a whole, like I said, 2 days later, we picked up on the tour. We played 3 shows, and we finished it out, and we got home, and I was like, man, I can't wait to do that again.
Like best thing I've ever experienced. This is amazing.
Yeah. I was like, completely just, I don't know, like unshowered, tired, restless, like just, I had only eaten the worst food as you do, and I got home broke as a joke, and I was like, that was awesome.
Right.
Like, maybe fucking 10 people showed up in total to all of those shows, and it was amazing.
Yeah. But those 10 people will remember us,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I love, I mean, especially like there's that, and I'm sure your relationship with touring has changed over time because it's like there is that youthful exuberance. You're so excited to be on the road. It's, adventures, pirate ship mentality. And then you kind of start to figure out like, oh, I need to like not kill myself on the road. I need to like, not eat the worst food ever, whatever. But there truly is a core component of like, you're either made for this or you're not, like full stop.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. And, it's funny. I've toured with both types. Like, I've been on the road with absolute tour dogs, just like absolute road dogs. And I've been on the road with people who just can't admit to themselves that they don't like touring. Like, and I, it's funny how it works.
Yeah.
And these days too, it's like you said, like that youthful exuberance kind of goes away a little bit, and you're like, okay, like I need fiber. Like I need like,
Totally.
like
I haven't crapped in a week. Like, when is this going to happen for me? Right.
Yeah.
Totally. My body is holding on to every piece of nutrient I'm putting in it, and it's not letting anything go. What am I doing here?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Then you start to shift into the survival mode aspect, and not in a like I feel threatened, but you're just like, I got to get through the next 3, 4, 5 weeks, whatever it is, and like here are the things that I can do to try to like make that easier for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it becomes second nature at some point. As you know, it's just like you get going and you get used to it enough. And I mean, for a couple years in a row there, like Foreign Hands was, somewhere between like 3-ish full US tours, 2 to 3 full US tours a year. And, then we added Europe and Japan and stuff on top of that. And so it's like, it does eventually kind of just become second nature where you are able just to kind of like live on the fly a little bit. And, you take your decision, like you make your decisions on a more day-to-day basis, of like you make better decisions on a day-to-day basis is what I should say.
Mm-hmm.
To where like I used to feel like I would over prep and still somehow at the end of it all I would be like, why do I still feel awful? Why do I,
Sure.
And it was just because of, I don't know, just being young and stupid. And and now I'm like, okay, like let's get something sensible to eat. Like
Right.
instead of like going out or whatever after the gig, like let's go rest. Let's, I mean, we go to the Foreign Hands, especially, we go to the gym and stuff, like before shows and whatnot. Like,
Right.
so we try to work out where we're on the road and like just, stay on top of all that.
Yeah, you're taking care of yourselves.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Excide in regards to like I remember, like I mentioned, when Nick first showed me the band, it was one of those things where I was like, this is and you can obviously correct me if the influences are obviously like way off, but it's like, I hear it's a mixture of obviously like Snapcase, a deep pull with like Cast Iron Hike, a little Vision of Disorder. It's like it's obviously the rock and the hardcore and all that sort of stuff. But it's not and I mean this in a very graceful way. Like, it's not popular in the sense of like people aren't pulling those references either immediately or being kind of like, I don't know what to do with this band.
Yeah.
So like when you started to kind of like cook this up in your own head, I promise I'm not trying to ask like the stupid, like, what are your biggest influences? Because I don't care about that. But just like, I guess what prompted you to, explore that creative side to be like, oh yeah, like I like rock, I like hardcore, and like, there's people that have done it before me, but like I'm gonna make my own stew over here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just like for me and I guess for the band too, like at this point it's like just a compulsion. Like it's like less of like a decided thought. Like we never sit down and we're like, okay, like this is like the hard line of what we're gonna do. And I guess we just never really draw too many barriers. It's mostly just like, I mean, me and Gil play in both bands together, so, I a lot of times we'll just be, like, driving and jamming together and be like, "Oh, man, like, how cool is this?" And it'll be something so random, like, it'll be something so off the wall, you know? He it goes as far as, like, I'll be listening to, like, Iceburn or something, and I'll be like, "How cool is this, like, weird section that they have right here?" Which is all of them, but, like,
Right.
"How cool is this section right here?" And I don't know, we get fixated on stuff like that and just get fixated on the weird and the strange and the outliers. Um, and yeah, I don't know, we talk about it, we talk about it, talk about it, and I think that just kinda translates over into, uh, our writing, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
it's weird, I don't know, we have, like, a strange thing going on, and same thing with, like, I don't know, it's the same way, it's like my relationship with every guy in Excide, like, all the other dudes, is very, like, just it's what inspires the different parts of the music. Because if me and Jake were to sit down and write stuff together, like, it's just gonna be the snapcasey, like, side of it. Like, it's just gonna be, like, One King Down, because that's what me and Jake like together. And then if me and Gil sit down and write something, it's gonna be so weird, off the wall, just, like I said, like, we get into, like, the craziest stuff we can find, and, like, I'll be like, "Yo, like, check out this Oxbow song," like,
Right.
just, like, as deep cut as we can get, really, and so, like, he kinda really brings that side of it, and Caleb, I've, like, played music with for a long time, our drummer, and, like, he's just he can write to anything, he's just solid, but I think if me and him sat down, we'd probably write Deftones, like,
Sure.
realistically. So it's like, all of my I don't know. It's like the weird musical similarities and, like, relationships that I've developed with all these guys that kinda make up the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I really like that description because I mean it does. It really feels like you're pulling all of those parts into the stew that's obviously coming out. Like i- it's funny. It's like you're if you're using that the metaphor of each of your band members, like it's like you're walking halfway down the path with each of them. Where you're like, we're
Mhm.
not full weird, we're not full Deftones, we're not full Snapcase, we're halfway on each of these, and that's what makes this
Mhm.
band up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's cool because, like, everybody kinda gets their own little piece in there, but it's not like a like I said, it's not a hard line or anything. It's like
Yeah.
it's just a blend all the way around. Like, it's just
Right.
what we all like together as opposed to what we all like separately, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, total cliched question, but obviously, like singing for a band is clearly different than playing drums for a band. Um, as you started to do that, did you feel, I guess, as comfortable as you did behind the kit, or playing guitar, or was that like a completely new universe for you?
It's honestly so funny enough is, like, no matter how long I've played drums for, like, I will get in a rhythm, but I just don't think I'll ever be fully comfortable behind a kit, like, if I'm being honest. It's like, I love it, and I think that, to my credit, I feel like I've gotten half decent at it at this point, and I enjoy playing, but it is the hardest thing to do for me, even to this day, and to where, like, guitar is, like, almost, like, second nature. Like, it's like, if you ask me to pick up a guitar and play for something tomorrow, like, I could probably make it work. Like, I could pretty easily land on my feet for the most part. And then vocals just sit somewhere in the middle where it's like, I have to think about it in the way that I have to think about drums, like, constantly while I'm playing. It's not so much a second nature thing. Um, but at the same time, it's more fluid for me. Um, and that's really it. It's where drums, it's like so rigid and I can't mess up and I can't, like, vocals are more like there's a little bit more room to, like, if I'm not feeling a certain note or something, like, I can change it up a little bit or, like, whatever. And that also might just be the different styles of music that I play.
Mhm.
Because if I wasn't playing drums in a metalcore band, maybe there would be more room for me just to like kind of like goof off and do my own thing and like whatever. But it is a more rigid style of like I really want all the parts to hit the right way. So I try to play everything the same every night, the same way you hear it on the record, like all that stuff. So
Right.
it might just be based on what I'm in, but that's kind of how I feel about them all separately, you know?
Sure. And because you have not only played but like contributed in a lot of different ways, from like obviously what you do with Excide and what you do with Four in Hands, but then I know like your recording studio, and I know the sort of creative contributions that you've done with other people and other bands. There's always, even though ostensibly like punk and hardcore like is not that commercial, but the year of our Lord 2025, it's like the biggest thing of all time. So the commercial implications that start to infiltrate bands when it's like, okay, like we have a record label involved, booking agent, manager, all this other stuff. How have you been able to, I guess, navigate the creative aspect? I mean, even though Excide is obviously putting out records as the same record label as Four in Hands, like there's a clear lineage there. How are you, I guess, able to kind of either like, do you ignore that noise of the commercial side of things, or just like, I'm just going to cook? Or
Yeah.
do you, or do you just like, hey, I have to like, people are investing money in me in some capacity, so I need to like not make this, an unlistenable, 17-minute jazz fusion Iceburn, hepatitis song or whatever. Like I need to
Yeah.
make sure that it's like, it's listenable or whatever. So anyways, I realize that's a big question there, but like, how do you kind of approach that?
Yeah, no, I mean, so there's always that itch at the back of the mind, right? Of just like, okay, like we got people kind of counting on us here to like deliver a product or whatever, if you want to really get into the like businessy
Yep.
lingo of it. But, you know, I have learned just in my short time of like working with labels and stuff like that and management, you name it, that it just it's the best just to stick to you regardless. And there are ways to trim fat. There are ways to, make things approachable for people without sacrificing like the um individuality of it, I think. And like yeah, I mean Foreign Hands has just been doing the same thing we always do, I mean, I feel like we kind of found our groove when we put out Bleed the Dream, and then since then, we've basically just been like, "Okay, well, that's us. Like, that's what we do, so we're just gonna keep doing our thing," and, like, that's what we tried to do. Excide's been more of like members have changed and just times have changed and influences have changed, and we never really had our moment, I guess, so to speak, because we are pulling from like these kind of places that aren't popular and stuff like that. So we never really had that moment of being like, okay, this is definitely us, until I feel like we did this record and it was like, okay, like this is fully us, like transparently us, like no bits and buts about it, whatever. And so, um, yeah, I mean, I just find that the best policy is just to continue being as authentic as possible to yourself and, like keep some things in mind. Like, don't write a 9-minute long song with like no parts. Like, don't write a 9-minute long song with no choruses.
Sure.
But, but also, like, we never compromised on any of the songs on the Excide record at all. Like, it was not like we just kept being like, "What can we do to make it crazier? What can we do to make it bigger? What can we blah, 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 blah." And there was no just like, "Oh, that's too much." Like, I don't think we ever got to a point where we were like, "Oh, no, that's too much."
Mm-hmm.
That was just not a thing that we, like, said in the process of. So,
Sure.
yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I
cool.
just think, yeah, authenticity is the best policy, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And truthfully, when you diverge from any aspect of that, that's when you can get in your own head and you can be, creatively stifled and just like, petrified by the idea of someone not liking something. And you're like, you're not creating true art when you are encumbered by those thoughts.
Yeah, and then people can feel it too. Like, I mean, as much as like I hate to admit it, I feel like people can feel it. Like if you're not being you,
Yeah. No, it's true.
and maybe and maybe not like certain people, maybe not like the average liquid metal listener or whatever, maybe they hear like triple drop E guitars that have been basically might as well be AI or whatever, and they're like, "Hell yeah, brother,"
Yeah.
but, you know, anyone with any kind of sense that actually cares about this stuff, they're like they can tell when you're not being you.
Yeah, sure. I totally agree. And kind of along that same lines, like the ideal, I guess, creative spot for you, just because, like I said, I mean, the fact that you play multiple instruments, you can obviously sing, you have a recording studio, you collaborated with bands. Like, what if I were to lay out kind of the ideal creative scenario for you? Would it be like working on your own stuff to put out a record, or is it like starting from scratch with another band, being able to do pre-production with them? I mean, I'm sure all of them are exciting, obviously in some capacity, but like, putting you on the spot on this particular day, like what would be like the most exciting thing that you could work on from that side of things?
Honestly, on that side of things, yeah, starting from scratch is, like, something that I want to, like, focus more on, just because, like, I do get a lot of just already cooked, like, whatever stuff, and honestly, I'm in this, like in the recording world, just my everyday work or whatever, like, I am kinda stuck to demo core, to where, like, I just pump people's demos out all day, like, that's all I do. People come in, they have a new band, they wanna record 4 songs in 1 day, and they want it done, and then that's it. So I'm stuck in that cycle right now, and I've had a couple people write with me, I've had a couple people do some pre-pro stuff, like, whatever, but yeah, ideally, like, I don't know, I enjoy, I think, writing music more than anything, and I enjoy being a voice of reason sometimes too, like, I just sometimes people come in and they have very ambitious ideas, and that's okay. Like, I love that. But sometimes they're very ambitious, like, and so, yeah, I don't know, like, not to stifle anyone else's creativity or anything else like that, but, like, at least for me, being in the bands that I'm in and doing all the stuff that I do, I'm like, I feel like for the most part, I've come to know kind of what can work and what doesn't and whatever, and so, like, I don't know. I wanna be that guy, like, I wanna really just fully produce stuff
Right.
from the ground up, you know?
Yeah. You're like, well, let's hold this for the second record. I see what you're going for, but we're maybe not there yet.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, and I definitely I try to give people ideas like that when we're, like, recording, but a lot of times it's, like, too late or there's not enough time or,
Sure.
whatever.
Yeah. 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 The last few things I want to hit on was well, first of all, where does Wallaby come from? Like, is that like,
Oh.
yeah, there's just certain things where I'm just like, that's funny. That's Australian. So like, what's the story there?
Yeah, obviously not Australian me, like,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
so when I first joined Foreign Hands, they just kept calling me a bunch of different things that were bad approximations of my last name because we already had another Tyler in the band, and they didn't wanna just keep because every time they would call us or call our name, we would both obviously, like, turn around or whatever, and it got to a point of almost being, like, annoying. Um, and so, obviously they were like they couldn't do, like, Tyler 2 or something, and, I refused to go by my first name, so I was just like my real first name, which is I've always gone by my middle name, so,
What's your real first
just
name? I'm sorry, I'm pressing you.
yeah, I know. Dude, I've had this conversation actually a lot recently. First real name, government name, James. So
Okay. All right.
yeah. So, but my parents always called me by my middle name. That's just what I've always been referred to my whole life, you know.
Got
So,
it. Okay.
but anyways, now in Delaware, I exist as Wallaby and not Tyler.
Okay.
And it's so funny because I'll go home to South Carolina, everybody calls me by my real name. I come back up here, everybody knows me by something completely different. So it is like hilarious to see, and I've even had it's gone as far as like people back home they've started to slowly transition to the nickname. And I'm like, you've never called me that. Like, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah. Don't try this on.
Um,
This is a Delco thing, bro.
yeah, exactly. But I think it was Gil that like he just kept calling me a bunch of stupid stuff that started with W. And then he said Wallaby one day and it just stuck.
Yeah. You're like, that's it. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't even mean for, because I was just like, to me, it was just another, I was like, okay, that's another one of his dumb names that he's going to call me or whatever. And then everyone just started using that one and
There
it
we go.
just never left.
And it
Yep.
stuck. Yeah. And so with the, whatever next year and a half of all of the pursuits that you have from, writing new forehand stuff, obviously playing shows with Excide and everything like that. What have you, I guess, in playing the shows that you have with Excide, which, haven't been a ton, but you've played, whatever, half dozen, if not slightly more than that. But what's been the, I guess, different experience for you, like literally, getting out in front of people and playing this music that's obviously just been cooking in your head for years?
Oh man. I mean, it's awesome. Like, obviously we're still trying to get out there and experience it more, because I mean, we only have, with the new material, we only have 5 shows under our belt, I think.
Okay.
So like, and that was all just, DIY tour we put together just to kind of celebrate like the record coming out and whatnot. It was like super low key. There's like matinee shows on that,
Yep.
all intimate, whatever. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was cool to, because I mean, we finally are at a point where like all the members feel right, the energy is right, everybody's like gelling really well, and like we genuinely just enjoy hanging out and playing music together. And so like getting out and doing it was really, I don't know, like a relief almost, I guess, because like I don't know what force has been really pushing me to kind of like keep Excide alive all these years. I think going back to, what we talked about before, where it was just like, I just don't think I know how to quit, I think is really what it is like, there's been plenty of times where I've been like, why? Like, obviously, like, this isn't the most, like, poppin' thing in the world. Like, this isn't, like, a genre that people are, like, really, like, itching for or anything like that. And so, like, there's been so many times where I've been like, really, what is there left to really do with this? But, then, I don't know, things like the label popping up and, like, bringing us on and whatnot happened, and I was just like, all right, I guess we're giving this thing like a real
Right.
college try.
Or putting out a full record and like doing this whole thing. I mean, I know you obviously put out a full record with Nick, but that's still like, anytime you have an outside partner that's like investing in your thing, that's when it feels like, oh, I guess I should take this seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I think for me it was like getting out and playing has been a relief more than anything, just because it's like, here's all this like hard work, like,
Yep.
and it doesn't matter to me whether it's like to 5 people or 500 people, like putting it out into the world means the world to me.
There we have it. Thank you very much, Tyler, and to his publicist, Shane, for setting this up. You need to check out the new Excide record. Came out in Sharp Tone. It's exceptional. Really, really good. The band's output in general is very good, but the new record, chef's kiss. Love it. Next week, we have another great conversation with people in and around punk and hardcore and indie rock and emo. In this case, we're talking more of the shoegaze or doom metal tip. This one is with Michaela Mayhew from Blackwater Holy Light. If you are not familiar with Blackwater Holy Light, which is sometimes a mouthful to say, get familiar by next week. Exceptional stuff. Very loud, heavy, shoegazy, just great band. Fell in love with them probably over the past year and a half or so, and they have a new record coming out shortly, so we had to have Michaela on. Anyways, until then, please be safe, everybody.